Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Dispatch. We have Anthony here.
How's it going?
Ah, dude, just living the dream. How are you doing, man?
Great.
Great,
Doing great.
dude. So you were in the Marine Corps, huh?
Yes, sir.
Perfect, dude. So what color is your favorite crayon?
I'll go with green this time.
Green this time. Let's go, baby. Winter green.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, man.
Got to pick one.
You got to pick one, dude. So
what does green taste like?
yeah, that's actually a really good question.
Not like lime like I thought it would.
No.
Not like-
It tastes like grass clippings.
It really gets stuck in your teeth.
Grass. Flavorless.
Flavorless.
They all taste the same.
Oh, I love it, brother. Well, let's dive into this thing, man. So tell me a little bit about your early life.
Early life, man, my mom had me when she was 14.
This is not another Carrie story about coming out of Michelle's
So I came out of my mom.
at 14 years old.
14 years old.
Full beard.
She was 14.
Oh, man.
Well, she was pregnant with me when she was 14.
Okay.
15, I think, when she had me. But yeah, growing up, we had a horse farm in Elburn.
A horse farm?
Yeah, that was my mom used to jump horses
Oh, okay, cool.
back in the day. And
So you've been around horses your whole life?
no.
No.
So they ended up, when I was little, they sold all that. And
Okay.
yep, my grandma and my grandfather, who I don't know, they ended up splitting, and
Okay.
he was Jehovah's Witness, and that whole thing didn't work out too well. So.
Didn't work out.
It wasn't for my grandmother, so yep. So I don't have any relationship with him or my dad.
Okay.
But yeah, just growing up, grew up with my mom and my grandmother. My
Right.
grandmother was kind of like almost like mom, and
So
my mom was always my mom, but
Right. I know what you mean.
so.
Pretty solid support system.
And
for now.
then my grandparents on my father's side, they were always in my life too. So
Oh, awesome.
yeah, so spent a lot of my weekends over there with them, and yeah, just growing up, jumped around a little bit, moved to Geneva, pretty much lived in Geneva, St. Charles, and Batavia, jumped around through that school system, and then ultimately ended up out in DeKalb, 5th grade. And then I always say I was raised in DeKalb.
Right.
That's kind of like when everything kind of got steady.
Settled down for you
So,
guys.
yeah. And that's where I met all my friends, my best friend, all that. So, and my best friend, he was in the Marine Corps too.
So was he a contributor for you joining the Marines?
Definitely. Yeah. He went in before I did, and he always knew that was something that he wanted to do.
Right.
And, I've always a lot like Harry, appreciated and liked the military, but didn't think I'd pull the trigger on it.
Yeah.
And then out of high school, went to college for, I think it was 2 semesters,
Okay.
trying to do some AutoCAD stuff. Thought I wanted to go engineer route, and I don't like sitting, so
Not a desk guy.
that wasn't really my thing. And well, you got to be smart too. So with AutoCAD, but yeah, so did a couple semesters of that, and then by that time, my buddy that went in the Marine Corps, he came back, and it was the first time I seen him since he came back from training and all that. And we all went out to they had a kind of a welcome home party
Right.
for him, and he was in his dress blues, and yeah, man, when I laid eyes on him, man, I was like, oh yeah,
Dude, those dress blues get everybody.
yeah, they're
It's definitely the sharpest uniform in the military service for sure.
yep.
You saw him in his dress blues, and you're like, I want to have your children.
Did he have a saber too?
panty
Walking around,
droppers.
walking around the fucking bar with a saber.
Knocking glasses over on the tables and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So
So that's what got you the bug then, huh?
yep, and then that's when went down to the recruit office and said sign me up.
Yeah.
So, and fortunately, when I went in, it was just if you could spell your name, you could get in. So
You're in, baby.
yeah, I was in
like Flint.
in like sin.
There you go. So did you have any troubles with the recruiters? There's so many recruiting horror stories of, yeah, man, we'll get you into this unit, we'll get you into that unit. It's not in writing, and next thing you know, you're a cook.
No, it was pretty. No, I didn't have that experience. That he was pretty much like, these are pick your job. I got, picked the MOS that I wanted, and that's what I got.
What'd you pick?
And I did pick motor transportation. So
Oh boy.
I was like, yeah, anything with wheels, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got motor transport, and I went to boot camp, and then went through all that hell, and then
How's basic?
it was tough.
Yeah.
I was going into it, I wasn't in like the best shape. But made it through. Came out probably like 80 pounds lighter, and
Right, you always lose a crap ton of weight, man.
Yeah, but it's crazy.
I remember leaving basic, and I was probably like 185 pounds, but with like in full dress, boots, my Bates boots, everything. So those things are like 15 pounds.
Yeah.
So yeah, you lose a lot in basic.
Yep. And
they mess with you guys a lot.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
Part of it's kind of entertaining.
We kind of had like a small platoon, and we had 5 drill instructors. So
nowhere
it was
to
like,
hide.
it was
Nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got smoked.
Oh man.
Yeah.
One of the hardest parts for me was not laughing.
Yeah.
Especially remember for like chow, they would make these guys go around with their trays. And if you messed up a question, they're like, you know what, man, I like NASCAR. Do you like NASCAR? And he's like, yes, sir. So he's like, you know what, I want you to go around this mess bay or the chow hall, and I want you to make NASCAR noises. So these guys are like, Murr. And he's like, you know what, you're turning, but your wheels aren't squeaking. He's like, I need some squeaking out of those wheels. So these dudes are just like running around the chow hall, just great time, dude.
Yeah, they'd make us do the wall sits and
Yes.
hold out our rifle.
Yes.
And we had this kill hat. This dude was like probably 5'5", but he looked like a leprechaun, and face was just beet red, big ears. But he was the most intense dude I've ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah.
And his name was Staff Sergeant Coffee. And
gave you the business.
Dude, he was just like, he gave everybody the business, man.
Oh,
but he would make us do those wall sits and hold that rifle out. And
Yep.
he'd tell us to ride the Harley.
Ride that
room.
I think we had like M1 Grands, and they like filled it with lead like down the barrel and all that stuff. So you would think 15 pounds isn't a lot, but when you're holding that puppy out there for 10 plus minutes at a time, man, it burns.
Well, another thing so when we had like a lot of classroom time too, so they cut you falling asleep.
Game over,
dude. You're standing up at the end, of your seats, of the row seats, and they'd make you hold out a piece of paper. You'd never think that a piece of paper could weigh so much, but you got to hold it straight out.
Heaviest piece of paper you ever had in your hand.
Yep.
Oh,
that was. They have games for everything.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yep.
You guys have to so when we went in, we would have all of our bags or whatever outside, and they would have a sentry. And when someone not in your chain of command would come up to you, you would have to like, halt, not my chain of command, blah blah blah, all the XYZ. And this guy's like, nope, you're not saying it right. And he's taking these bags and he's fucking whipping them across the yard. And this guy's running, picking up the bag. He's going to another bag, throwing it. Then the sentry's going to pick up the other bag. It's just hilarious, the games they play with these guys.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's insane.
The mind games are fun.
Yeah, part of doing business. So basic training went off without a hitch.
I wouldn't say that, but it was got through it.
Right.
And which I had my doubts going into it and while I was in it. So, but I made it through.
Right.
A lot of it's team.
100%.
So had a lot of good guys in our platoon. Pushing you and got through. So
nice, man. So what did you do after basic?
And then what was that?
Sorry, what did you do after basic?
So after basic, then you come home, and then I went to San Diego. So then I went back out west for Marine combat training.
Oh, there you go.
Which ended up being a lot harder. I think harder than boot camp, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, it was. Our instructors were super intense, and I mean, it was like
rightfully so.
And they treated everything like like the real deal.
Right.
And, that's when you do like your little grenade range, and
right.
I mean, you can't mess around with all that stuff.
No, it definitely can't.
But yeah, and then from there went to Fort Lost in the Woods, Missouri.
Fort Lost in the Woods.
Fort Leonard Wood, and that's where we had our MOS school. That was actually that was pretty cool because my wife, girlfriend, fiance at the time, living in Illinois, she was able to like come down for the weekends and stuff.
Right,
and
right.
we had like libo on the weekends. And,
Right.
so that worked out nice. But and then from there, got stationed out in Camp Lejeune.
Nice, man.
So went from west to east.
Yeah, you did all across the country.
Yep.
You saw everything.
So yeah, got to see a lot. And then Camp Lejeune, I remember my first night there. I was still with like a good portion of the guys from boot camp, and we went and got our letters for like which battalion where we're going, where we're gonna be, who we're gonna be with, and a smaller group of us got 2nd Med Battalion. We're all like, Med Battalion, like, okay, like Marine, like we were trying to figure it out, like what the hell is this?
What the hell is this? Yeah.
And we thought it was like something cool, but it was a medical battalion. So we were Marines in a Navy battalion.
No way.
On Camp Lejeune. And they're so we check in, and it's pretty much all Navy, but the motor pool is Marines. So there's a platoon that runs the motor pool, and they're the Marines.
Right.
Non-deployable unit.
Oh,
I'm
perfect.
like, oh my God. I was like, at that time, all I wanted to do was go overseas or
right.
go do something.
So how was living life?
Everything's kill.
Living life with the Navy.
So one of my best friends from the military actually ended up he was a corpsman. So
cool.
And Doc Diaz. So he was a cool dude.
Good dude.
Ended up deploying with him, and it was a great time. It sucked because you never wanted to tell anybody like who you were with on Camp Lejeune.
You want to tell me with the Navy?
Med Battalion, but it was pretty lax though. Like,
gotcha.
Compared to being with like a Marine unit.
Right.
But then what they would do is they would pull Marines though out of that motor pool and chop them out to like other units to deploy.
The stepchilds.
Yeah. So ultimately that's what happened with me, and I got chopped out to Combat Logistics Battalion 8.
How long were you there before you got chopped out?
So it was like probably at the end of 2.5 years.
Okay.
Like 3 years. Because I got out a little bit before 4 years. So I was stateside for a little bit there, but so yeah, I went to CLB-8. So before I got chopped out, we had guys get chopped out that went to Afghanistan before me, and they went with CLB-6. And dude, when they were out there with 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, and they got annihilated.
Really?
Like, so they have this whole like 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, like they had 25 guys get killed.
Oh, God.
Like, ultimately combat ineffective, combat
sure,
replacements and stuff. So, and a lot of the guys I was friends with were CLB-6 mixed. They were embedded with 3-5, and so when I was chopped out with CLB-8, they're like, "Well, 3-5 still gonna be out there, and we're replacing CLB-6,
right?"
And we're gonna be helping them out a little bit. So I'm like, oh God, all right, here we go.
right. So I want to rewind a little bit. So when you got the orders to know you were being deployed, like how were you feeling at that time? Pumped? Like
dude. Yeah. It's like
finally it's happening.
Yeah, it's like this is real. So yeah, that was cool. That is a good feeling. I mean, as a Marine, you don't want to just stay stateside.
100%.
I don't know any Marine that just likes being non-deployed, but
exactly.
When
you finally got over there, how was it?
So we went over there, deployed to Helmand Province, Afghanistan, coming into the deadliest year for Marines,
right
over there, and it was everything you could imagine.
Oh, dude,
it was I don't know, just.
Where were you stationed in Afghanistan?
So we we're at Camp Leatherneck, but then we spent most of our time just in the desert, man, just doing the thing.
Nothing around.
It's just nothing. I mean, it's crazy. Like Afghanistan, like down there, like southern Afghanistan, like just it's crazy how you go from like the flattest deserts, to like the most beautiful mountainous terrain, and
Right.
then they have like the green zone down there where we were, which was very heavy with the Taliban, but just when a lot of times you just had to like find the beauty in where you were.
100%. For those that don't know what the green zone is, what is the green zone?
Kind of essentially what it just where they grow all their
crops
and opium and whatever. Yeah, so they but it was like very, the Taliban was very protective of those areas at that time, and it was kind of a strange time too there with I don't know how you want to say it. Like we would destroy like a lot of those opium fields in the beginning,
right? And
then we went to like protecting the opium.
Weird.
So it's like weird.
What's going on here?
Yeah, but pharmaceuticals, they gotta make their money.
They need their money.
It's opium capital of the world, I believe. Afghanistan,
yeah.
So
yeah. The government wanted to protect that for sure.
Iraq. What was Iraq about? I don't know.
That's a long discussion, brother.
What's below our feet?
Yeah. So what was your day-to-day life like in Afghanistan when you first got there?
So it was just hot, miserable. Full combat load. I went to Afghanistan weighing, I think I was probably like around 220, 225. I came back 140.
Oh, man.
So I was like, I didn't even look healthy when I came back.
Malnourished.
Yeah, but it was hot, and we pretty much, we were just mission, like out there, we were just mission after mission after mission.
Just ran you guys ragged.
Yeah,
You guys were always transporting?
Yeah, transporting troops, transporting anything logistically, provisional infantry, clearing minefield, like just
nonstop.
It was just crazy.
Yeah, man, for sure.
So a lot of there's this area out there called the Tabletop.
Okay.
And it's like the most dangerous area in Afghanistan as far as IEDs go. Yeah. And we had this outpost, Shigvani. Okay. And we'd have to go out there. It was, I think it was like 42 miles from Leatherneck, but it would take us like 2, sometimes 3 weeks to get there.
No way.
Yeah. And, it was just, just creeping along, blowing, like, we always hit IEDs. Of course. So it's like, just going slow. And I know our first, one of our first missions going out there to Shigvani, we blew up a truck, and we brought up our wrecker. And as we're trying to get that truck loaded up, we start taking IDF like crazy.
And that is what?
And just from
indirect fire.
Yeah, indirect fire from the Taliban out there. And
great!
It's just like
exactly what you want to do.
So and they are landing shells like in very close proximity, and luckily nobody got hurt there on foot, but it was, a
butthole buckling moment, brother.
Like, that was the first time I experienced the IDF stuff, and I was like, holy shit! Like that's when it,
hit you.
We had the Mark 19 on our truck at that time, and then like when those 50 cals start rocking, and and then that Mark 19 gets involved, it's like holy shit! Everything's just. The truck's rocking, and it's just like holy shit!
I'm in it now, brother. I'm in it now.
We're in it, but better than I guess on foot for most of it, but
100%.
Yeah, but yeah, it was pretty crazy out there.
Oh, I couldn't.
It's a whole different. It's just I always tell people, man, it's like you getting thrown into the Old Testament of the Bible out there, dude. It's just like like it's crazy.
If you don't believe in Jesus, you do now.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
Oh, buddy. Oh, man. So it would take you almost like 2 weeks just to travel 40 miles.
Dude,
wow.
It took us forever to get anywhere out there. Yeah.
And you guys are just like basically like sitting ducks.
Yeah. And another thing too is like, so part of when we changed over from CLB-6 to CLB-8, like all of our trucks, we had mine rollers, and they essentially became useless because they were just putting pressure plates, for the mine roller, and then the charge under the charge would be under the truck.
Yeah.
So towards the end there, we just stopped using mine rollers altogether. But
wow,
it was just like, I don't know, a lot of pressure plates, but they did use some command detonated stuff too.
Right.
Yeah. Which, it's just crazy. Just
I couldn't imagine, man.
Just a different world out there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you come from the United States where traveling 40 miles is nothing, man. Like, you could probably do that coming here today.
Oh, yeah. I think it was like 50 miles or so.
Yeah. Did that in like an hour.
Yep. I tell you, man, that was probably one of the hardest things for me coming off that bus. And just like knowing something isn't like you're happy to be home and you see your family, and it's almost like shell shock.
Yeah,
really, it's just like coming home. But
100%.
I remember just like getting in the car and like I almost couldn't even drive. Like,
I don't blame you.
Just like, holy shit, like I'm going 15 miles an hour. Like,
we're flying.
I know, like what's that bag there on the side of the road? And like,
oh,
dude, it's insane, man. That was the biggest thing. It's just like you don't view things the same.
Oh, brother.
Like, yeah, I'm sure you don't either. But.
Oh, right. Yo, your head's on the swivel, man.
Yeah.
Especially after those type of encounters, man. I couldn't imagine.
Yep.
Do you have something to say? Jamie? Google?
I was going to ask, so when you guys came across IEDs, were you guys calling in EOD, or how'd you guys handle that?
Yeah, fortunately, most of the time we would just hit them, but dude, waiting on EOD just takes, because now you got to think. So every time we had EOD come out, it was always an Army EOD unit. Nothing against the Army, but they suck. Just.
But I was really curious if you guys had Navy EOD or Army EOD.
Yeah, no, it was most of the time it was always the Army EOD guys that would come out, and they did a good job. But they bring out, they're like, I think it's called a Buffalo. It's just like a one man, like it's like a huge machine, just one man on top, and he'd go out there and mess with it or potentially blow himself up.
Whoa! So you're telling me this is not like Hurt Locker?
Oh, yeah, haven't seen that one
in the Juggernaut suit.
Yeah. You never seen Hurt Locker?
No, I did. Yeah, it's been a while. But yeah, no, it wasn't. I mean, a lot of our IDs were in the ground, so.
You think you'd think you would have like a unit with like attached to you guys, since you guys are doing all this transporting.
So I mean, we did. We integrated with like other battalions and stuff.
Okay.
On some of these convoys and stuff that we do, but most of the time it was just us.
Right.
Yeah. And so I guess backing up, when I was with CLB-8, I was actually part of a security platoon, which was all field MPs. So all the guys I was placed with were field, and they all had prior combat experience.
Okay,
which was cool,
right?
Because they knew what they were doing,
right?
And then all the guys were. I mean, I didn't really mesh well with a lot of them, just being a bastard child, pretty much, coming in. So I didn't have like that respect,
right.
And I outranked. I was, a lot of these guys were like lance corporals with, a lot of these guys are like gold star, like combat vets, and like as lance corporals, and,
right?
Multiple combat tours, and I'm a corporal coming in at nothing,
right?
So,
this probably,
so
yeah, there's a little animosity.
Yeah, so I didn't really mesh well with most of them, but I did find a few good, few good ones in there, and
right.
People to had a lot in common with.
Yeah, for sure. So that was the majority of your tour, was just transporting ordnance or equipment back and forth.
Yeah, a lot of food, water. Yeah.
How long was your deployment?
It was 9 months.
9 months.
Yeah.
So 9 months of that nonstop. I could tell, or I could see how driving in the United States afterwards, after 9 months in there, of the worry of constantly being blown the F up, that could wear on you.
Yeah, it gets crazy, but yeah, went months without having water for a shower, and I remember
Decent food.
at Camp Leatherneck was like awesome. That was the nice. So when Camp Leatherneck was like its own like little city, and like you could just like walk around. You felt pretty safe in there, and just they had like the little shopping center. They had these like little trailers for. One was like a Pizza Hut. That was actually at the airstrip. For, I think it's
the Air Force.
Yeah, it was Camp Bastion, I believe. I forget the name.
Was that an Air Force base?
I believe so.
Air Force always has the nicest stuff, dude.
Well, of course they do. They have the budget.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of guys that require that kind of
attention,
hospitality.
Yeah.
A bunch of sissies.
But yeah, I don't know. It was wild though. Wild out there. So like my best friend, like he was out there before I was too, and he hit the largest recorded IED in Afghanistan at that point. And it threw their 50 cal off their truck like 100 yards.
Oh my God.
I'm like, dude, that's crazy, and messed up the gunner. He was fine, but his whole face was jacked up.
Oh, I bet.
They ended up losing one guy in his deployment, but
so you kind of get a sense of what
he
you
got
were
rocked.
in for. Yeah, so you kind of have a sense of what you were getting yourself into.
Oh yeah, and I kind of, we talked before I deployed, and so I kind of like knew like some of these geographic locations.
Right.
And I know like when he was there was this bus that got blown up that had a bunch of just like local nationals in it.
Yeah.
And dude, he said it was like along the 605, which is a route out there, and I remember the first time, and that was like going further south, and we didn't really go out there much, but I remember the first time, like, we're going to go down the 605. I'm like, oh, shit, my buddy told me about this. Like, this is where the bus got blown up. And sure enough, like, we go down the 605, and that bus is still there, like, charred up. I'm like, holy shit. I took a picture of it, and I came back. I showed it to him. He's like, that was the one.
That's the one, bro.
I'm like, oh, shit.
Alarms are going off in your head. You're like, I don't want to go down the 605, dude.
Yeah, but, yeah, that was a bad, like, Dalaram, and that was, like, some bad territory down there.
Oh, dude, I couldn't imagine.
But
Crazy. So what are some memorable stories from your deployment?
Dude, so...
oh, this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one.
No, I would say, like, one of our coolest missions was... there was a French Mirage jet that got downed out there. And being we were the security element for our battalion, and ultimately Leatherneck at that time, so we ran a lot of QRF, like quick reaction force stuff. And when that jet went down, we went and rescued the pilots, and ultimately we had to retrieve the jet too.
Of course.
That was pretty wild. Like the jet, it got shot down, but it landed like it was perfect, perfectly intact, landed.
No way.
And so the recovery was like crazy, like just trying to figure out how we're gonna do this, and
yeah, man.
Adapt, overcome, and improvise. But
let's go, brother.
C4, baby.
C4, baby. Let's go.
So yeah, we ended up blowing the wings off of it.
There you go.
We tried pulling it apart with chains, and we had a M88 tank wrecker, and it wasn't doing nothing.
Right.
Like we couldn't tear it apart, and so we ended up blowing the wings off that thing, and then the M88 was they make a specific tow bar actually for airplanes.
Oh, okay.
That they ended up bringing out there, and they were able to get up on the trailer.
But, really?
Yeah, it was wild.
Because you guys are worried about all the mechanical or the technology within the jet, right?
We didn't know. What was your question?
No, you're good. So you were covering it for a reason, right? You didn't want anyone else to get access to what was on board of that jet.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's a lot of sensitive stuff, I guess, but
Right.
I don't know how sensitive it was for the Biden administration, but probably just would have left it there.
Just like they left everything else.
Yeah, I know. But
yeah. Real quick, I was going to say, don't you have photos of that?
yes, I do.
Yeah, you got that Mirage Jet on the trailer.
Yeah.
We'll have to see if we can get some scans of that. Put it up with this episode. That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. If you actually if you go on my Facebook, they're in my Facebook photos.
Oh, is that where they are?
Yeah.
I know I've seen it.
Yeah. If you just dig around my albums on there, they're on there.
Yeah, we'll have to do some digging.
Get
some
after Google.
deep digging.
Oh, some deep digging.
Deep dig.
All right, back on track.
What were we talking about?
So you guys recovered the jet.
Yeah, recovered the jet, and that was wild too. So I was driving it's called an LVSR. It's 10-wheeled, like one of the biggest wheeled vehicles that the Marine Corps has.
Oh, so it was a big boy.
And then they kind of look like turtles.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like a cab over the front wheels, and
Gotcha.
the old version of that is the LVS.
Okay.
And then they had these 870 trailers, and we put the jet on the 870 trailer, and the LVS was trying to pull it, couldn't pull it.
Really?
So I ended up tow barring that. So I had my LVSR, tow bar, LVS, which had another fifth wheel with the 870 trailer, and I ended up dragging that thing all the way back to Leatherneck.
Just centipede that thing.
Yeah, that was pretty, dude. I was like, dude, I'm for sure hitting a pressure plate.
That's the only thing that's going through your mind.
I'm for sure. But yeah, that was a that was a wild mission. It was fun. It was
right.
fun.
What point in time in your deployment was that? Was that midway, early on?
Probably like midway through. A lot of those days run together, but
100%.
I know it was like 140 degrees, so it was probably like something like midsummer. So
drink a bottle, and you're just sweating it all out.
yeah,
yeah, buddy.
So, and then there's one paved road in Afghanistan,
Of course.
and Route 1.
Yep.
And that's always like every time you get on, like every time like we're doing a convoy or whatever we're doing, whenever we get to Route 1, it's kind of like when you kind of kick back a little bit, like, all right, we're on Route 1, things are supposed to be safe,
right?
Whatever. And it was kind of like between Leatherneck and Delaram, and there's this like huge dip that you drive down through,
right?
Route 1, and it's like just hilltops on each side of you, right?
Oh, ambush central right there.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So you know where I'm going with this.
Oh yeah.
So like, we hit Route 1, we're coming back, we're like, fuck yeah, we're gonna get some chow, and things are,
hit up that Pizza Hut for sure.
Getting complacent like all Marines do, and at one point, and yeah, we hit that valley, dude, and as we go down in the valley, there's a fuel truck blocking the whole frickin' road, just like a local national, like LN fuel truck, just blocking the whole road, and so like the convoy stops, and like we're all on the radio trying to figure out what are we doing, like, so then guys are getting impatient, start getting out. Well, my gunner starts kicking me. So like my gunner's feet were like right here by my head, and he starts kicking me. I'm like, what the fuck,
in the face?
And, yeah, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, dude, he's like, my mark won't go this high. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I can't get the mark to aim this high, dude. It's not. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro?
Right.
He's like, look up top, dude. Like up top, like in the sun was like setting, dude. It was like something out of a movie,
bro.
Like the sun was setting, and you see like 10, 12 guys all with RPKs walking up at the hilltop on both sides of us, and they're just standing there, like they're not even trying to hide, nothing,
right?
And just standing there at the hilltop looking down at us. Well, that was I was like, oh shit! Like I'm like, all right, this is bad. This is bad.
Yeah.
So it got raided up, and our lieutenant was like, Dewitz, get your truck up here and get your tow bar down and hook up to that LN fuel truck. I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you talking about?
Say again?
And, yeah, I'm like, come again? I'm like, I'm not going anywhere near that damn thing.
Right.
He's like, but Marine man,
let's go. Lead the way.
Lieutenant told you to do it.
Lead the way.
You're not gonna bitch out now, right?
No, exactly. So let's go, baby.
I made it this far. So yeah, I get up there and I tied a chain to that dude. I don't even know. I just like through his wheel, through his bumper.
Doesn't matter.
And I just I got in that truck, threw it in reverse, and I just dragged his ass all the way back, and then got our guys through and unhooked that shit, and we went on. But nothing happened there.
Yeah, man.
Like and it was like one of the rare times like we didn't take any contact or
that could have been bad.
Nothing. But it was just like, it was like the scariest time.
Yeah,
really,
because
it was weird.
You knew what was at stake at that point.
Yeah.
Because that's
so I think they were just kind of doing some homework, like see how what are they gonna do, like when we do this or
100%.
Yeah, we just got the hell out of there. And that was stupid because our ROE is like maybe like a month or two prior, we probably could have just shot all those guys, but
right.
You know, our ROEs were like
rules of engagement.
Yeah, you gotta.
For those that don't know.
Yeah, so you gotta take the fire to give the fire. So.
Right. What a position to be in.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, hearts. We were there to win hearts and minds at that point, and I don't know. We always had a cool captain though. He was always like, two to the heart, one to the mind.
Hell yeah, brother.
But it was fun to joke about, but.
Yeah, they could have went bad fast, man.
Yeah, dude, that would not have. None of our gun trucks could have reached the top of that ridge. You were just, from where we were. Like we would have been M4 in it, and
right. Because if they probably didn't know that at the time, the Taliban or whoever it was up in those mountains, they probably didn't know that. That's probably they didn't want to mess with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So,
but if only they knew.
If only they knew we couldn't. Yeah, that probably would have been a different story.
I'm glad you had that one, brother.
Pretty sure it would have been lights out. But,
oh, for sure.
But yeah, that was a pretty crazy time there too.
So what happened after that?
Then we got back and everything was good with that one. Like I said, that was one of the few times we went out that we didn't, like, throughout that whole recovery and through that situation, we never took any contact. It was weird.
Oh, thank God.
But it was sketchy, but I don't know. I was also there too when the Osama bin Laden shit went down.
Really?
Yeah. So, it was. I remember. We were leaving Camp Leatherneck, and one thing we always had like a kind of a set amount of ammo and how we would load our trucks up, and I remember like we loaded, like we emptied out the armory, like. We took everything. I'm like, this isn't unusual. And and we were never really, nobody was saying anything. And then they kind of gave us they briefed us in on what we're gonna do, but nobody really knew what we were doing. Then we actually went and we staged as a QRF for if shit hit the fan for that whole operation.
Really?
Yeah, and so. Eventually, we found out what we were doing, but we ended up staging at a different outpost, and over there, that was probably the furthest we ever went, and we got over there on the Pakistan border.
Yeah.
And but never went in or anything, but
okay,
we were there,
right? Almost, you were almost there.
Well, so that was the first time too, and that was the first time I. Had access to a satellite phone, and our lieutenant made all of us call home.
Oh, dude, that's not good then.
So it was like, all right, well. So I remember, I called my wife at that time, and she was super confused, and I'm like, oh, they're making us call you guys, so I don't know what's gonna happen.
Oh, brother, man, that's something like a realization right there too. Like it's not good, especially when they're telling you to call it, and that's not normal operation right there, man. So you're getting some shit.
Yeah, and that was the same thing though too. All that distance we went, nothing really went down.
Thank God.
But yeah, it was wild.
So what are some of the hardest times during your deployment?
I mean. Definitely, just the grind, man. The grind out there is intense.
Yeah, wears you
super
down.
intense. Yeah, just you're wore out, man. I mean, they, there's no rules for how hard they can run you.
Yeah, man, for
out
sure.
there, so
On top of the heat, on top of
everything,
you know, just the mental aspect of you could be blown up at any minute.
Yep.
You know, it wears down on you for sure. I could only imagine.
Yeah, and it was hot. Did I mention it was hot out there? It was hot.
No, I think it's the first time we talked about being hot.
Yeah, no, and you'd come back off missions too, and you'd be super hungry, but you'd rather just get some sleep.
Oh, dude, I
just
couldn't
like
imagine.
you didn't really care about eating.
Do you guys do like a lot of working out or?
No, dude, honestly, like I did. I was working out a lot actually at that point. But you don't. I mean, with how often we were going outside the wire, and it wasn't a. I was just I was losing so much weight out there, like, and it's like I had muscle, but like I lost everything, and then like hitting the gym was just like it was tough.
It was probably more of like a peace of mind, right, to get your mind off things. Because like, I mean, were you guys running missions daily?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we were leaving like I think the longest so like Leather Neck was kind of like our base, but like when we go out to like all these different outpost fobs, whatever we were doing, I mean, we'd be gone weeks at a time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we definitely spent most of our time outside the wire.
Okay.
But yeah, I forget if, a few months in, we hadn't had like nobody's had taken a shower, and then they brought in these like shower tanks. I remember, and I forget if did we already talk about this? I can't remember. Like
shower tanks, no.
But they brought in these shower tanks, and I remember coming back. We came back off a pretty shitty mission, and I remember they had those shower tanks outside of our cans, and I was like, we're like, what are these things? And go in there, and it's like, dude, they have hot water. It's like, oh. God.
Thank you, Jesus. You probably never been so happy to take a shower.
That was probably still the best shower of my life.
He wakes up still thinking about it.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Oh man.
Hey, we're gonna take a quick break here.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're gonna come right back to it.
All right, man. Welcome back from break.
Yes,
so
sir.
There's one particular mission I really want to talk about. It's when you hit a road bump.
Yeah. Bumps were in the road.
Bumps were definitely in the road. As an understatement.
Yeah, no, they were there. So yeah, that was I ended up rolling with. So we were security platoon with CLB-8.
Gotcha.
And then they had another platoon, truck platoon.
Okay.
And I was with them. I separately went with them for my platoon, and I was with truck platoon.
Gotcha.
We hit a couple IEDs that day. So
couple.
Yeah, I found one. There.
So what was your mission for that day?
I think it was just one of our normal logistic runs for resupply.
Gotcha.
So, it's where the rubber meets the road.
So walk me through that day.
Or in that case, the sand, I guess.
Well, it's definitely sand. Because that's not
dude. The sand out there is like it's like baby powder.
Really?
And yeah, you walk in it. It's just. It's like snow, It's like snow. It's like walking in snow, but it's like consistency of baby powder. It's where it gets in everything.
Nook and cranny.
I go upstairs, and sometimes I have, Carrie's seen it. I just have like all my stuff thrown in a pile in my loft, and you can go up there and shit. The dust
still
is
there.
Still in everything.
You brought a little back with you.
Yeah.
Some people bring, weapons, pistols, rifles. You bring sand back with you.
Yeah, just sand.
Just sand.
Still knocking it out of my ears.
So just go ahead and start with the mission that day. Like, what all transpired, man?
Yeah, so like I said, chopped out with some guys that I was really unfamiliar with.
Okay.
And I knew how they operated. Being in the same battalion, but
right.
It's kind of like. I don't know. Guess you could like relate it to like being a NASCAR driver, driving in your car, but then jumping in somebody else's car and driving.
It's just a little bit different.
Just a little different, So
you were in a different rig then too.
Yeah, it was different vehicle than I was used to.
Different crew. Or is the crew the same?
So, or I shouldn't say it was the same. I was used to the vehicle. It's just, even though like all the vehicles are the same, it's just different.
Yeah, 100%. I know what you mean.
Dude, the LVSR that we had it decked out. The vehicle commander that I always rolled with, his wife sent over a Bose sound system.
Yeah.
And it was like the 7.2, like all the speakers. And we set it all up in there, and like everything's bulletproof, soundproof, so it just sounded awesome in there.
All right,
that was one of the cool things.
What was the go-to song?
Dude, like, probably Let the Bodies Hit the Floor, man.
Let's go, bro. Yeah, absolutely.
That was always on the playlist, but yeah, we listened to a little bit of everything.
A little Party in the USA.
Sad old country songs.
There you go.
Yeah, Britney Spears or whatever.
Hell yeah, brother. You haven't lived until you listen to Britney Spears in combat, brother.
No Taylor, though.
No, yeah. Strictly no Taylor.
No Taylor.
Oh, man.
But, we were listening to a Revenge Sevenfold song.
Let's go. You're an elder emo, huh?
No, but we just had one. I just remember that. I couldn't even tell you the name of the song, but
gotcha.
It was one of their songs. The first time that another truck hit an IED that kind of sent shockwave through us.
Right.
But I remember that song being on.
Can you describe that for shockwave?
So, dude, it's like getting hit with a baseball bat. Like,
and you weren't even the primary target of that, right?
No, just on foot. Yeah, just truck. You always stay in the tracks. When you're driving.
Right.
Just stay in the tracks. That's that's the big thing out there. And sometimes like a truck has to go around to move up or do whatever. But at this time, like, I guess you could call it complacency or whatever, but we were just sitting, and people were getting out, whatever, taking a piss, taking shit, whatever. And this truck starts going around. One of our guys starts going around to go up to the front and friggin' hit an IED on his way up there, and we had feet on the ground, and so that was the blast is just, I don't know, just rocks your world.
Oh, I bet, man. I could imagine.
So, anyway, probably wasn't even that big of a, that one wasn't that big of an IED, but it was enough you feel it.
Get hit with a baseball bat, that's definitely enough to feel it.
Oh, yeah. So, and that was what threw me, like, that's what threw me down, and ultimately, like, I've had back issues ever since then, and nerve issues, but still have that to this day, so... I think Gary knows a thing or two about that.
Not like you do.
Hey, nerve pain's nerve pain, man.
Yes, sir.
This is true.
You can't, dude. You can't, unless if you have it, you can't make a normal person understand it.
Oh, yeah. It sucks. I definitely know that feeling.
I was just going to say, we're in a room of dudes with nerve pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the burning.
Dude.
I don't know, like, dude, my left leg. So like I said, I'm actually, I just contacted my doctor the other day. I'm going to try to see if we can do something with it. But, dude, just like the side is just like burning constantly. And just like it feels like, I don't know, it's like a stretching, like tearing, burning. Yeah, man. Like, I just can't anymore. So
I don't know about you, but I always describe it as like a red hot piece of iron.
Yeah, I mean,
constant.
With the weather here, the cold, dude, like getting in the car with it being on my left leg, like shutting the door and like my left leg, the side of my leg touching the cold door. Oh, dude, that's like the iron for me, dude. Like, I just want to scream.
Yeah, right.
But, yeah.
Oh my god!
But yeah, nerve pain is no joke.
No, it's not. No, I wanted to lop off my arm after my shooting, dude.
Yeah, I believe it.
Like day-to-day function was like non-existent because all you could think about was the non-stop pain.
Yeah, I can't imagine that, but I'm sure it's similar in some ways. But I just can't imagine because you live. I'm glad I didn't take a bullet, but yeah, I've had bullets all around me.
You just took an explosion.
Yeah, so. A little shockwave action.
Yeah, right.
So, but yeah, that was the one that kind of got to me. So,
yeah, I couldn't imagine, man. Like that's tough.
Yeah.
How did everyone in that vehicle do?
Everyone's good. And that,
as good as can be.
Yeah, everybody, we were lucky that, like that was probably best case scenario, honestly, for what happened. So,
yeah.
Yep. I mean, collectively, I mean, we had a lot of, obviously combat, but I think our battalion had something like 15 or 16 Purple Hearts, I think, out of CLB-8. So, we
too many.
We had people, get hurt and messed up, but our battalion did not lose anybody when we were out there. Coming off of, CLB-6 with 3-5, collectively losing like 32 guys.
Yeah.
Collectively. So, dude, being embedded with those 3-5, I keep talking about those guys, but that Darkhorse Battalion, man, dude, they went through the shit.
Fuck, man.
So, one of the guys, actually, he's from Byron, Illinois.
Really?
Here. Alec Catherwood.
Okay.
That was killed out there.
Oh, man.
And, well, I might be wrong on this, but his dad was really good friends with a guy that builds choppers. And they built a chopper for that battalion.
Really?
And it's you can probably look it up, and it's an awesome motorcycle, and it's like all red.
Love it.
But under the under the gas tank, they have a bar with every guy that was out there's dog tag.
Hell yeah.
On it.
That's fucking badass.
The tank says 3525.
There we go.
So it's a pretty badass tribute for those guys.
Hell yeah, brother. I love that.
So yeah, I would check that out. That's pretty cool. But back to being with Truck Platoon. That was a
tough day.
Yeah, that was a tough day there. But and then going back to it was so weird being a bastard child going to another being with a bastard child in a platoon. And then going to another platoon to be a bastard child with guys that you don't know, and then coming back and having to tell them what you went through. It's like everybody's like, oh, okay. I don't know. It was
if you'd had bad luck, you wouldn't have any luck.
I know, right? But
I know that feeling, brother.
That's just how it was, though. So, I know, like my best friend when he was out there. The guys that he was with pretty much his whole time.
Yeah.
Like through the Marine Corps. And so like when they lost his buddy Hefner, he's a Marine from Texas.
Yeah. Good old boy.
Yeah, he stepped on a IED and that's what killed him. But that was that hits really close with those guys. But so it's like So like in our situations, like nobody like really knows,
Right, man. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it sucks, but like, who is this guy?
Right.
So,
so how was recovering from that?
It's
that's how you get your TBI.
Yeah. I mean, out there, and dude, TBI is no joke either.
Oh, I know.
And it wasn't something I didn't recognize until probably, 6-7 years being out of the Marine Corps.
Really?
And I was diagnosed with it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just like the tough guy mentality, maybe, just like nothing's wrong with me. And
right.
I still act like that. I'm sure my wife could
testify for that.
Testify for that, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but then like I said, some years later, you start recognizing, like, okay, I'm forgetting like stupid things.
Oh, dude, me too. One of my best friends came to see me in the hospital, and I don't even remember him being there.
Yeah.
And then you feel bad because they've been a part of your life forever, and he's like, oh no, I came to see you. I'm like, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And it sucks. And even to this day now, where I'll be in mid-sentence and then all of a sudden my memory just is like gone. And I'm like, I can't even recall any information. I sound like an idiot talking. And I'm like, oh God, I'm so fucking stupid.
I'm the same way. Why are we on mics right now? What are we doing here?
Who peed my pants?
Who peed my pants?
Was I abducted? What?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But Yeah,
it's funny to joke about, but it's
it's serious though. Like I said, it does. It causes my wife and I have our difficulties for sure, but without her, dude, like I'd be lost.
Same.
Like, in the end, like I'd be lost. So she keeps me on the straight and narrow.
Right.
Reminds me of all my appointments.
Same, bro.
So
let's talk about you transitioning out of the Marine Corps. So what happened on your way out, man? So I know you talked about you literally got off the bus and it's figure it out.
Yeah, dude. There's so I think like when I walked up, dude, it sucked. Like coming back to Camp Lejeune.
Yeah.
Being on the bus. I remember coming the bus ride back from Cherry Point. Just seeing color. Like, dude, it was just like
from the photos you just showed me, I understand exactly what you're talking about because everything's gray.
Yeah.
There's zero color anywhere.
Just like everything's sand, brown, just
yeah.
Our vehicles. The only color out there is like pretty much the local national truck drivers. They have like a flower. They have all their trucks are loaded with like fake flowers and like colorful,
right?
Blankets and whatever.
They're depressed as shit, man. Like always seeing gray and nothing else.
But that's the only color you see out there.
Yeah.
Or at least, it really is.
You're like, this is a freaking rainbow out here, man. There's green, there's blue, there's red.
But everything was like vibrant. But yeah, it's definitely like a weird sensation.
There's also like a weird emotional connection too, because I remember when I was deployed for the Caribbean, we did drug interdiction in the Coast Guard, and we didn't have cell phones or anything like that. And honestly, it was actually nice getting away from like technology in that sense.
Yeah.
And to me, everything emotionally was amplified from when I was in deployment. And you were more. I felt like more like I was connected to everything, right? Just emotionally. I don't know how you feel about that. And then when you get back to port, you're like, wow. It actually, in a sense, was kind of refreshing.
Yeah, I totally see that.
Yeah, so I can see what you're saying when you come back to the States, when you were literally every drive or every route you were taking, it could be life or death, blown up, ambush, and then you get back to the United States where everything is safe, and you're seeing color for the first time. You're actually eating decent food now, so it's like it's probably definitely an adjustment for you.
Oh yeah. I mean, dude, first time I saw my wife when I got back, I was like, man, dude, she went from a 9 to a 10. She was smoking.
Smoking hot. Bedroom now.
Yeah, no, it was on my mind.
You dog.
Well, it's because that was the first time in 9 months you've seen a woman in anything other than their eyes.
Right, and you were shredded too back then.
Yeah, well, not coming back, but yeah. I was just skinny.
Skinny.
Yeah, and it's just weird to think about too. Like when I was out there, like all those photos I was showing you, it's just like I had it was a digital camera, with a SD card, but that was like before GoPros and like all that crap. I can't imagine being out there doing what we did and being able to have like all the tech like
now,
the stuff that we have nowadays, but. And it wasn't that long ago, but just technology
massive jump,
crazy.
Your massive jump. So, what was your life like when you first got back?
Yeah, dude, it was like I said, in the moment, coming back, you don't think anything bothers you. You don't think, you think you're just
untouchable.
Yeah, and that's how the Marine Corps molds you too.
Oh, you have to
specifically, and just, suck it up,
right?
But really, it's a psychological, like, I don't know, like mind. I don't know.
No,
it's just crazy.
I see what you're saying.
But yeah, coming back off the bus, I know my mom had so when I walk up to, they had us get in a formation, which was stupid.
Right.
At least we thought.
Right.
Before we could go see our families when we got off the bus. So we had this big formation, the colonel talked and then dismissed us and then go out to our family. And my mom had, she was like standing behind my wife. And it was weird, like all the hundreds of people there. And like I just like walked like straight to my wife. It was really weird. But like it was just like, boom. And my mom was like behind her. I know there's a photo, but Dude, you can see me hugging my wife, and like, you can just like the look in my face, like you could tell it's like
You're elated, dude.
just like when I look at it, it's just like you could tell I was like in a dream.
Yeah,
like,
pure happiness.
Like, oh my god,
You're like, is this actually happening?
Yeah. Yep. So, but yeah, that was wild. And I remember just so that camera I had, walking back to the car, I had my bag and loading up the car, putting stuff in the trunk, and I shut the trunk and I hear a smash. And I open up the in the trunk didn't shut all the way. I opened up the trunk, and that camera I took that lasted my whole fucking deployment was in pieces.
In America.
I'm like, oh.
Not when you're blown up.
I know.
Not the fucking
just
ambushes, none of that shit. It's when you get back in the States where you're actually safe. You destroy your camera.
I was like, oh my gosh. But, at least it was all on SD card. But
right.
Yeah, it was just one of those memories I still have. But and I remember, we get in the car, and dude, like, I always take driver. I take the driver's seat.
Right, because you don't want to die.
Yeah. Well, anytime my wife and I go somewhere, it's just always been the way I always drive.
Oh,
but
for a good reason.
Yeah,
that's how I am with my wife. I'm like, do I want to get to this place safely, or do I want to put my life in my own hands, or in her hands?
Which she's not a bad driver, but yeah, just I remember just pulling away though, and I remember she was like, "Why are you driving so slow?" I'm like, we're hauling ass. Like, what are you talking about? And I'm like looking at him, like literally like 20 miles an hour on base, and she's like, the speed limit's like 45 in here,
I feel like I'm going 100.
I'm like, you have no idea how fast I feel like we're going right now.
This is a blur.
And then just like, dude, hyper vigilant. Like,
yeah, man.
Just, hyper vigilant. Just looking at everything. You just don't look at things on the side of the road the same anymore, or in the road or whatever. Everything's different. But
yeah, dude, I couldn't imagine. Yeah, I couldn't fucking imagine.
Yeah, it was wild. And then
all right,
Belfour.
All right, so you're on base, you're driving, you're going mock Jesus.
Yeah, mock Jesus, like thinking the police are looking for me, the base police. And what am I? And then something I remember very vividly too is just getting home. Dude, I had a badass house.
Yeah.
On Emerald Isle, which was like 45 minutes from the base.
Look at that TBI working, bro. Just
dude, I know, just
name dropping.
And but yeah, it was a 4-bedroom house, like 2 bathrooms, like an outside shower, private beach parking. On like over the intercoastal waterway, beautiful. Like,
bro, are you rolling in the Marines are paying well, brother.
Check it out. So do you remember Craigslist?
Yeah.
So Craigslist was a thing, and I saw this. So when I got married, I saw this ad on there, and I was like, "Oh, this is a total scam."
100%.
All it said was 4-bedroom house, $800 a month, and it said Gene with a phone number. I'm like, all right. So I call it.
Sounds like a prostitution for 40 roses. You get whatever you want, brother.
So I called the number. This little old lady answered. I could just tell, little old lady.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, you can come check it out. And, she's like, I live next door. My husband and I had the house. And then we built our house next door. And you can come check it out. When I got there, just a beautiful house. Her house, the house that her and her husband had built. Freaking beautiful. Like, just awesome out there. I lived life on the island out there was awesome. Oh. But and just away from, Marines and there was like a lot of officers that lived out there.
Right.
So
it's like a little oasis.
I didn't belong out there.
Yes, you did, brother.
As a corporal.
Yes, you did.
I did not belong there. But dude, she was like, so like I would like always like help her out with things, like, and her son lived like in Morehead City, which is inland a little bit. But I would help her like take care of stuff, and so I mean she kept the place for me while I was on my deployment.
Oh, amazing!
So
man.
Yeah, it was like and rent free. So
which was some
awesome.
Good people out there.
Yeah, so she was definitely one of them. Yeah, R.I.P. Gene. Yeah, she was a sweet lady. Dude, she was like, she had to have been like in her 90s, and she was still doing Meals on Wheels for people younger than her. You know, it's like
really.
Oh yeah, so
That's
she was
awesome.
great. She walked the beach every day. I always thought I was gonna have to go find her on the beach. Like,
Yeah, man.
You know, but she always made it home.
Love it.
So, but yeah, she was a little God-fearing lady. But yeah, I remember. So we get back, get back home, and one of those things I vividly remember is just like something was missing. Like I couldn't, I had my bag, unpack my bag, just like, changing to civilian clothes for the first time.
Right.
And it's like, dude, like, what the fuck? Like, what's missing?
Right.
Like, something is missing. I know it's Jesus, but I'll figure that out later.
Right.
But, I'm like, but I think I carried that with me for like a few days, and I'm like, dude, like,
What's going on?
dude, I don't have a gun.
Yeah.
Like, you sleep like that rifle is like your baby.
That's your lifeline.
Everywhere.
Yeah, man.
You got to think like year and a half, going back a year and a half, that rifle's with you like
Every day.
every day, everywhere you go, all the training, all the workups to the deployment. I mean, and then it's just taken from you.
Yeah.
And
I never thought about that.
yeah, it was a weird. Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, man. No, I right.
Just like an empty feeling, just like, or I don't know, just not feeling
Whole.
Yeah, it's weird that your rifle's your baby when
that's your
you're
lifeline
on
for
deployment.
sure, man.
Yeah, that was
An adjustment.
That was a huge adjustment, and then getting in. Speaking of adjustments too, so coming back, going through medical. I had a fire in me. I wanted to re-enlist, but I wasn't going to be, I wasn't going to be able to do what I wanted to do medically still.
Yeah.
And then
Due to your back injury, correct?
Yeah, that, and at that point, that's when we found out my wife's dad had.
So he was diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
What kind?
So ocular melanoma.
Google. Do we know what that is?
It's eye cancer.
Yep.
That's why we have Google.
That's why we have Gary over
Yeah. Very rare eye cancer.
there. Yep. And but he was actually, he caught it very early.
Yeah.
And he was just like at a normal eye doctor appointment, and the eye doctor was like, there's a tiny little speck of something, just wanting you to check it out further. And and that's what it ended up being. But fortunately, Iowa University has a doctor that specializes in that,
right?
Which is like the only doctor in the United States that does.
So you're in the right place. He was in the right place at the right time.
Chapman's 2 hours from
absolutely
Iowa University. So.
Yeah, brother.
So they spent a lot of time traveling back and forth from there, but he lived with it for a little while, and he was a service manager for a Chevy dealer, and for years, and he retired from that, and then he was like the dude could fix anything, dude. Like he was just
that mechanical
master
mind, right?
mechanic.
Yeah.
Like he could just fix anything. Like any problem I had, he was the
knew.
guy. Like just for everything.
Right.
So that's why I got choked up. But
no, man, absolutely. It was definitely an important part of your life.
yeah, for sure. So I miss him.
Yeah.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like he might have filled that like male role model for you in a lot of ways. I know the ways you've talked about him. I know you were very close with him, and he was important to you.
For sure.
Listen, brother, though he might be not here, but he's with you. And I know that for a fact because during my shooting, there's no way I should have lived, and I had 2 people, maybe more, up there looking after me, and I think that's what probably saved my life. In addition to everything else, but
yeah, I'm sure
I was with you spiritually.
Yeah, I definitely feel it, and I believe
brother.
it. So, But yeah, so we decided to come back home to, be with family. So
Yeah. And that's what you need.
yep.
You need a good support system, brother.
So that was a tough one for sure. So
Yeah.
and coming back from deployment, and then just it was weird. You're trying to adapt and adjust to everyday life,
Right.
and then you add that, and then
You don't really have time to process everything else that happened to you too. But
Yeah,
so you start
and
to
then-
suppress and all that.
but
stuff.
then like I'm getting separated from the military at this point.
Right, which is
and-
kind of like a breakup, right?
And it was just like, dude, I literally came back from a war zone, back to Camp Lejeune and out.
Yeah.
And back into the civilian world. And it was just wild.
In no time.
Yeah. Just like no transition, just like.
No time to collect your thoughts, anything like that.
Yeah, no, it's really weird actually thinking about it. And it's kind of cool. That's why it's kind of cool doing this podcast. It's like, you don't really, you don't fully like grasp that until you really sit down and think and talk it out and talk about it. But yeah, it's just like the transition from just doing what you did, like even from boot camp all the way through. Just
yeah, man.
You got trained to do this thing, and then you go and you do this thing, and then
for 4 years,
and then it's just gone.
It's like a breakup. Like it's like a loved one you had, right? In a sense,
100%.
And that was like your rock, your foundation for how many years, and then all of a sudden, a blink of an eye, it's all over.
Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty wild, and then transitioning back was, it was pretty tough.
Yeah, man.
It's just trying to get in the groove, but.
So, what was the ending of your Marine career like, or your career in the Marines in general?
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, it was, just I felt like everything leading up to before I deployed was slow.
Yeah.
Everything just dragged, and then the work, and then you chop out to the different battalion, and then all the workups, pre-deployment, and then deployment, and then coming back, it was like quick. Everything was just like, just boom, 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 and you're done. I'm out.
Like a long romance, just coming to a halt.
Dead halt. Yeah.
Just getting ghosted. Getting ghosted by one of the loves of your life.
Yeah, for sure.
Man.
So, yeah, it's that's definitely not the way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it.
Right. I think, honestly, in the military aspect, I think they need to do a better job of setting up their service members for success.
Yeah.
They really drop the ball in that aspect.
They do have this like whole steps and taps thing that you go through when you're getting out, doing all your paperwork and getting out.
Right. I did it.
But it's just a crash. Like, they don't care. Like, they don't. There's nothing personal about it. There's nothing.
No, they teach you how to do like a resume, what font to use.
Exactly.
I've been through that class, man. It was BS.
But all right. So 2 months ago, I had bullets flying over my head, and now you're teaching me how to write a resume.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. There's no decompression. There's no like slow. Like, let's phase him out of this. It's, hey, this is the font you want to use. Don't use Times Roman. People don't like it. And also, good luck with the rest of your life. See you guys later. Thank you for your service. Thank you for getting blown up.
Yep. Go throw your boots over the power line and get out of here.
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of feel like abandoned.
So I know I've mentioned this before, but I was just it's so fresh in my mind just because I was listening to this. Travis Haley, I mentioned him to you earlier
On the Sean Ryan podcast, yeah.
Correct. I don't know if you've heard of him. He was a force recon Marine, big figure in like the defense industries and training and whatnot. He was talking a lot about off-gassing and how in warrior cultures, this guy is a wealth of knowledge, has just studied the warrior mentality. I think he said he was like whatever. he comes from a long line of gunfighters and military members, but he spoke of how in most tribes throughout history, he's like going all the way back, like Romans, whatnot, you go through this off-gassing process where you would go through these different tests, use herbal medicines and things of that nature to really just release all of that tension from what you experienced, what you dealt with, and things like that. And that was before you could graduate to being back with your tribe, you had to go through these processes. And it was always like at the hands of a medicine man or whatnot. And he talked about how the military, like they don't do a good job of that. Like
at all.
You go to your deployments, you come home. Like that's it. You don't go through those processes of getting rid of all of that you've like dealt with. And it's not that you're throwing it away, but it's you're learning about it. And he uses the word off-gassing, and it like, I don't know, it put it into a good perspective for me. And, you know, I think that might be something that you experienced. I know, you know, from conversations that we've had, guys that you were with experienced.
So, yeah, I know, like, my situation was a little bit unique compared to a lot of other people, but dude, there was a lot of people I knew that went from boot camp, MOS school, to their unit, right into the shit. And then they come back, and then they're back for like 8 months, back in it. Come back 6 months, back in it. So within 4 years, they're getting 3-4 deployments.
Oh, God.
And you want to, I mean, and those guys, I mean, I can't, I don't know, that's rough.
Yeah, man. 100%.
So
that wreaks havoc on your system.
Oh yeah, but you don't think about it when you're in it. You're just like,
all.
hey, I'm doing my job, you know, gung ho, you know.
Yeah, 100%. You're bulletproof.
Yeah.
Right, and nothing's gonna affect you. You already made it through deployment. You got blown up. You've been on how many missions? Nothing can affect you.
Yep, and it's just, and like I said, like a lot of the field MPs that I was with, a lot of those lance corporals and stuff were in Iraq and Afghanistan, and second time in Afghanistan.
Right.
And it's just, I liked being with those salty guys, you know, but because the knowledge aspect, and for me being, I felt comfortable being with those guys, and the fact that, you know, those guys had that prior experience.
Yeah, man, they've been battle tested, so it's like kind of like a. It's like a sense of security in a way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, you even being in the, you know, just listening to them and how they operate, you could just tell like they've been here.
They've been through the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it was good in that sense.
Yeah, man.
100%.
So your transition out of the Marines was definitely rocky, in a sense of like kind of just being cut off.
Yeah. Yep. And it's still kind of, I don't know, still kind of the same today. I'm still trying to figure it out, but you know,
yeah,
I'm on a fire department now and got my EMT, so you know, went from taking lives to saving lives. So
that's a good trade-off, brother.
So
it's a good trade-off.
And cutting hair.
Yeah, cutting, and the barber thing.
Most successful barber in Shabana.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah,
shout out Shabana.
I got competition out there now.
I will take care of that. Don't worry.
Yeah, you're on this show, man. You're famous now.
Oh yeah, might be.
Oh man. So we're gonna touch on another touchy subject of some of your buddies that you have lost along the way.
Yeah. So a lot of my good friends from the Marine Corps were guys that I ultimately went to boot camp with, kind of went through like all the training with, got stationed with, Camp Lejeune.
Yeah, man.
You know, you build a bond with and the camaraderie with those guys is like just, it's
because I guarantee you can call those guys up and then you pick up right where you left off.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
and and it's like that on Facebook. You go year and a half without talking to them, and then you start chatting on Facebook. And it's just like
never left.
Yeah, never left.
Yeah,
but you know, so come back. So yeah, post deployment, and yeah, so had a handful of guys, you know, commit suicide, and just it's Yeah, I don't know. Just everybody copes different, you know.
Yeah, man.
It's and you never know. You know, like
For sure. You don't see it coming.
Yeah, you don't see it coming really, and it's always the guys too that are like the what you see is like the happiest or just
dude.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. I mean, I lived it, so I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
You don't see it coming. It's those guys that they're making a killing early on in career. They're getting after it, and they're happy-go-lucky. You know, they're good-looking guys, and they could have anyone they want, any woman they want, and you don't see it until it happens, and it's just earth-shattering.
Yeah. Yeah, like one of my pretty good friends that I built that relationship with. He was Sergeant Keys. He was from Minnesota. And dude was just a stud.
Yeah, man.
Like he was like, I don't even know. He was probably like 6'4", 6'5", and just the dude ran 3 miles in under 18 minutes, and just like he knocked out PFTs and just
a monster.
He was an absolute stud. And and just like happy-go-lucky kind of guy, and but we were with each other in Med Battalion. He got chopped out to a different. I think it was he got chopped out to like a MU, the Marine Expeditionary Unit.
Okay.
So he was on a ship or whatever. But
yeah,
they deployed and they did some. They were in this. I think they're in the shit too. So yeah, they came back, and I don't know. I'm kind of forgetting the timeline exact, but
it's all good, brother.
I know he came back and went on leave, went back to Minnesota, and ultimately, so they live in like somewhere like Minneapolis area, but his family has a bunch of cabins like way up north, like McGregor, and which my wife and I, well, I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, he went back home on leave, and yeah, all I remember is getting that phone call. I was like, yeah, he, went out in the front yard and, took his life.
Yeah, man. That's not easy.
At his parents' house,
Yeah.
So, you just don't, everybody dances with their demons differently.
Absolutely.
So, and I think you're never going to get rid of those demons, I don't think, and I think you can knock them down a little bit, but they're always kind of there, and just everybody handles it differently.
Yeah, man.
So, but, I don't know what he was going through, but I have an idea, but, but, just even the strongest and most outgoing people, you don't know what they're dealing with. So,
right.
But yeah, that was tough, and I know I forget what year it was, but after I got out, my wife and I and the family, we we got invited up to McGregor, by Steven's family, where they have their cabins and stuff, and his family's just like, they're like total youpers, like just like the nicest people, and the property up there on that lake, just amazing. That's another place we were just talking about.
I'm in, brother.
Dude, that's another place, dude. That's a phone call.
We'll go,
dude. And Big Sandy Lake up there, dude. That's the name of it. Just like one of the top, like, most beautiful places I've ever been to.
Right.
And I remember getting up there, and it's a little awkward because I've never met his. Yeah. I knew him, but I didn't really know his family. But it was a little awkward at first, but once the ice was broke, it felt pretty natural.
Yeah, man.
It
was probably comforting for them too.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Beyond.
Because, like, they've talked with guys that were close to Steven, but like up to that point, they'd never met had anybody come over or anything like that. But yeah, I remember. So like their cabin, they have a dock and it just overlooks the lake and just beautiful. And then on the other side, it's like part of the lake where where they kept their boats. And I remember waking up in the morning and just went out by myself. And or I thought I was going to be by myself. I walked down by where the boats were and just taking it all in,
Yeah, man.
just enjoying it, peace and quiet and reflecting and whatever. But and then I his dad's his dad's a character, to say the least. But he's a guy, like, he tells like these like stupid jokes, and he's like, and when you're not laughing, he'll be like, hey Dominic, I'm funny, I'm funny, right? He would always say that, like, I'm funny, right? I'm like,
Typical dad stuff.
You're
Yeah,
funny,
man.
man.
Yeah.
But I remember he came up behind me and he scared the crap out of me. He just was like, hey. I turn around and he throws keys at me. I'm like, what are these? He's like, that's Steven's boat. I'm like, all right, I see where this is going.
Yeah.
He's like, I've never been in it since.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's probably important to him.
Oh yeah.
So did you take it out for a spin?
Dude.
I love that, brother. Because
I was like, well, you know what? I was like, I might as well.
That's what he wants. That's what he wants.
I was like, yeah, I might as well. So yeah, I took that boat out and just, it's weird how you can get that. You get those feelings like,
yeah, man.
You're like, they're here.
Yeah. With you.
But yeah.
It was probably one of the best rides you ever had.
Yeah. So it was awesome. Just the lake was like glass.
Yeah.
Just like
picture perfect, right?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, man. You couldn't write that in a movie.
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all. But yeah, it was just, that's what country songs are made of right there.
Oh, like, brother. That's the heart and soul right there, my man.
I drive your truck.
Oh,
yeah.
But I listen to that all the time.
Yep. Drive your boat. Yep. But yeah, he had never been in that boat until I got in there. So
did he come with you?
No.
Just you alone?
Yeah, just me.
Hell yeah, brother.
100%. Just like, all right.
That's probably one of the greatest moments you ever remember.
Yeah, it was cool. But yeah, and they also had a pontoon. And
Carrie just likes to give me low signals during an interview.
What's that? What does that one mean?
Exactly what you think it means.
It's time.
No, it's all good, brother.
But yeah, no, he was, dude. That dude was, man. He drank a lot though too.
Okay.
Which whatever,
No,
But
it is.
I remember we weren't in the barracks very long after our motor T school, and I remember he got in a fight with this other Marine, which they ended up being really close, good friends too. But I remember I was standing out on the catwalk and they're fighting, and he, like, they're pushing whatever. He goes in his room, comes back out, had a beer bottle and busted over TJ's head. I was like, what the fucking dude? The dude was like, he didn't care, man. Like,
yeah.
So I always stay after I knew, like, after I watched him bust that beer bottle over his head,
He ain't playing games.
I'm just gonna be his friend.
That would be that guy's friend. Hell yeah, brother.
That was one of the stories.
That sounds like a beautiful friendship, my man.
Oh yeah. So that was a good friends that you make in the military it's just way different than
lifelong.
It's completely separate from civilian world.
Oh, I still talk to some of mine today.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, every day.
So
best friends.
Yeah, it's the camaraderie there. A lot of people say it, it's a cliche thing to say. It's like, I miss the camaraderie, but I don't miss all the BS with the military, but which is 100% accurate.
No, right.
And then, and then after that, had another guy from our platoon that did the same thing, and Chris Boyer. And actually, how far are we from Manuka?
Not far at all. Probably about 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes.
So, like, the river runs through there.
Yeah.
I've only been there once, but they, another really great Marine that I was with, Phil Lowen, he lived in Manuka. He just moved down to Florida, but they have like a wall, veteran wall there down by the river, like a memorial, and both their names are on the wall over there at Minooka. So
amazing.
That's pretty cool. And that's a beautiful area over there too, down by the river.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So I was actually thinking about stopping by there, but it's probably gonna be dark here, so I probably won't. But
well, you'll be back on the show. I can promise you that, brother. There's more we want to talk about you with.
Oh yeah.
So, that being said, dude, thank you so much for coming on, man. You're a rock star. You're an inspiration to me, and I know you're an inspiration to Carrie. And we appreciate you coming out, man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have asked you on the show if I didn't
appreciate
think
you guys.
otherwise.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys having me on, and look forward to coming back on again and maybe talk about the fire department stuff. So
yeah, for sure.
Some good stories, some good and some bad stories there, but mostly good,
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
So,
you continue to make a difference in this world, brother. And those people that you lost
you guys all do.
are with you to this day, I promise you.
Yep.
Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in and listening to our episode. We have a lot more in store for you guys. Please like, subscribe, share.
Thank you, guys. We'll catch you next time.
Hit that follow button.